What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $1,400 third stimulus check update and third stimulus package update. In this video, we're going to hear directly from the White House on the status of the third stimulus check package, which has passed the Senate and needs to get voted on again by the House. I'm going to give you the latest details on that, as well as, Democrats are actually kind of getting bashed for a lot of issues that came with this third stimulus check package. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos on the third stimulus check package, as well as the next stimulus package coming, the fourth stimulus package, known as the Build Back Better package, which has already been announced and will be coming after this and will be between $2 and $3 trillion. So it will actually be a larger package than this one, which was the largest stimulus check yet to date, as well as the child stimulus checks when they're going to be coming available. Those are the $3,000 to $3,600 child income tax credits that are going to be paid out in monthly payments of $250 to $300 per month per child, as well as the mortgage assistance, rental assistance, utility assistance, and property tax assistance. There's two different rounds of that in the third stimulus check package, one directly from the package and another round from the states and cities that are getting $350 billion. I also will update you guys on this channel on the $10,000 of student loan forgiveness, which we'll probably see a big push for after this package passes, the $200 per month Social Security increase that President Biden campaigned on, as well as the possible $15,000 first-time home buyer credit that President Biden wants also. That'll be interesting to see. We're going to see a lot of activity on all these other items after they pass the third stimulus check package in the House and the president signs it and we actually get the money in your account. So I will keep you updated on all that. Make sure to subscribe and smash the like button. First up, we're going to hear from White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on the third stimulus check package and the minimum wage, which the $15 an hour minimum wage, I should say, that did get removed from the third stimulus check package, mainly because the Democrats could not keep their own votes together, and 8 Democrats voted against the $15 an hour minimum wage in the Senate, along with all 50 Republicans. Here we go. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki.
Joining me now is White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki. Jen, welcome to the Sunday Show.
Great to be here. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning, Jonathan.
So as we saw in that montage of criticisms of the upcoming Biden agenda, let's talk about the agenda. And I want to start with what was stripped out of the COVID relief package by the Senate, and that is the minimum wage. Does the president stick by $15 an hour minimum wage, or is he willing to compromise on that in the same way he did for those from $400 a week for the unemployment benefit to $300 a week?
Well, first, Jonathan, as you started the show talking about, the president is on the verge, on track to sign into law the most progressive bill in American history. That's going to cut in half child poverty this year. That's going to make the biggest investment in child care since World War II. That's going to get those checks you talked about into the hands of 160 million Americans. Yes, there were changes. That's democracy in action. He didn't cut the bill in half. He kept true to his $1.9 trillion package, and we're looking forward to signing it into law. I will say for the agenda moving forward, look, the president knows that there are critics. There are those who disagree with him. But what he's confident in is that his ideas and his vision for moving the country forward is something the American people agree with. And we saw that in the polls as it relates to the American Rescue Plan.
Right. So back to $15 an hour. Will the president stick by
I'm sorry, I meant to answer that. Yes. Yes, absolutely, so, yes. Jonathan. Sorry, I had so much to say. The president believes that people who've been working hard, who have been trying to just make ends meet, should not be living at the poverty level. And he believes that the minimum wage should be raised to $15 an hour. There's been lots of reports out there, but I can assure you and your viewers, there's no negotiations happening right now about lowering that threshold that the president's involved in, that anyone in the administration is involved in. He is committed to raising it to $15, and he's going to work with members of Congress to find the right path forward and find the right vehicle to do that.
All right, so just to be clear here, let's clarify this. The $15 an hour minimum wage was taken out of this third stimulus check package bill. It has almost a 0% chance of being re-added by the House. And so at this point, the $15 an hour minimum wage is dead on arrival. As we've seen White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki say that they have not engaged in negotiations on that to lower it at this point. So what is going to happen is they're going to pass this third stimulus check package bill. And I expect then right after this, we're going to see, as I mentioned a minute or two ago, that we're going to see a flurry of what's next. Okay. The minimum wage, Social Security increase, student loan forgiveness, the next stimulus package. Some of those things could be included in the next stimulus package. Some could be standalone bills. Some could be presidential executive orders. It really just kind of depends on the order of what gets the most support. Whatever's kind of the most vocal in Congress tends to be the first thing up. So again, I don't control it. I wish I could. I have them all for you, but unfortunately, I don't control it. So I just report to you guys what's going on. But the $15 an hour minimum wage, from what I see, and I, not to toot my own horn, but I'm not very wrong about this stuff very often because I literally live and breathe and eat this stuff every day for you guys, going through articles and interviews and just literally just I'm engulfed in this stuff because, well, I'm bringing you guys the latest news. So I pretty much know what's going on. At this point, the $15 an hour minimum wage, from what I see, is dead. I don't see any way that they can pass it at $15 an hour. They voted on it in the Senate about 48 hours ago at this point, an amendment, and it failed 42 yeses to 58 people voting no. All 58 people that voted no was 50 Republicans and 8 Democrats, okay? So as a standalone bill, remember the Senate parliamentarian ruled that it can't even be passed through the budgetary reconciliation process. So you kind of got that hurdle where you can't pass it with just a simple majority of the 51 votes. Okay, so they could overrule her, but Joe Manchin's not going to vote for that, and other Democrats aren't going to vote for that. So what really needs to happen is you're going to have to pass it through a standalone bill as a regular bill where you need 60 votes in the Senate. Now, the Democrats could get rid of the filibuster in the future, and then maybe there was a hope to pass it with 51 votes there. But again, you have the same problem as that 8 Democrats voted no on it. So if they got rid of the filibuster rule is the rule that says you need 60 votes in the Senate to pass a bill. But again, the reconciliation process lets that pass with just a simple majority, okay? But the Senate parliamentarian ruled you can't have the $15 minimum wage through the reconciliation process. Plus, they can only use that a certain amount of times per year per issue. So they're not going to be able to do that with minimum wage, okay? They're going to have to do it with, and again, things could change, but this is the most likely scenario. They're going to have to do it with a bipartisan effort. We've seen Democratic Senator Joe Manchin say in my episode before this that all the senators, Republican and Democrats, are for a minimum wage increase. They're just not for $15 an hour, which is more than double what it is now, at least on the federal level, $7.25. Remember, states can have their own minimum wage that's higher. There's 8 states that actually have passed $15 an hour minimum wage, but most of them are multi-year phase ups that take years to get to. For example, Florida's kind of the one I referenced the most, is not going to get to $15 an hour until 2026. So it's going to go up by about $1 or $2 per hour. Each state can pass their own minimum wage higher than the federal minimum wage, but the federal minimum wage is the bare minimum, which is $7.25 at this point, which still about a third of the country is at $7.25. What I expect will happen is after this bill passes, we will see a bipartisan bill that will try to pass, and it will probably be at $10 or $11 an hour. Because again, there's just not enough votes to get 15. So whether you like 15 or you don't like 15, that's kind of just the reality of it. You could let me know if you like it or don't like it down below in the comments. But I think that they're going to pass at a $10 or $11 an hour, and it'll have to be a bipartisan effort. They haven't passed it since 2007, and the effect hasn't gone in since 2009. So we are kind of 11 to 13 years overdue here for at least some type of minimum wage since it was last raised. So that's what I expect will happen after this bill passes.
Okay, so also on the White House's agenda, in addition to raising the minimum wage, there is infrastructure. Can you give us a clue in terms of the timeline on when the president's going to focus on infrastructure? Is that next week?
By the way, by infrastructure, they're talking about the next stimulus package called the Build Back Better package. It's framed as an infrastructure package, but it will have multiple different provisions in there of stimulus, which we don't know yet. I will keep you updated on that. But we already have dozens of Democratic lawmakers pushing for stimulus checks. In fact, we have like 11 Democratic senators pushing for recurring stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks in the next bill. So this is very, very unlikely that this will be the only stimulus check from President Biden and the only stimulus package, the one they're passing right now. They've already announced the next one, and President Biden said he wants to pass stimulus packages and stimulus checks until the pandemic is over because, well, number one, the Republicans did it under Trump. They passed 5 different packages. 2 of them had checks. The other one had kind of money for businesses, money for vaccines, and the other ones in there were smaller. But they did pass 5 stimulus packages underneath the Trump administration. And if you think Biden only wants to pass one, well, that's just probably not going to happen. They're going to have multiple stimulus packages until the pandemic is over, which Dr. Fauci says will be the end of this year at best. So when you hear them talk about the infrastructure package, that's the next package called the Build Back Better package, the next stimulus package.
I don't think it's next week, Jonathan. I will say, as you know, you've been covering him or following him for a while, rebuilding our streets, our roads, our bridges, that's something he's long been committed to and wanted to do. And he's had a couple of meetings in the Oval Office with members of both parties to talk about ideas about how to do that. That's long. There's been a long history of bipartisan support for infrastructure investment, and so he's certainly hopeful we'll see that moving forward. But we're going to get the rescue plan passed. We're going to take some time to talk about it to the American people once it's passed and once he signs it into law. Explain what the checks do, how we're going to reopen schools, how we're going to get more shots into the arms of Americans, and then he'll talk about his Build Back Better agenda and what's included in there after that.
Okay, I need to get your reaction to Senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, what he had to say. I believe this clip is from his interview on our Meet the Press. What he had to say, I think this is about reconciliation. Have a listen.
Let me say, they're going to want to go to reconciliation. I think what's happening, they want to go to reconciliation on big infrastructure. Okay. I'm not going to go to reconciliation until you give me at least 30 days to work with my Republicans. I won't vote to go and proceed until I said, okay, they've got a fair shot. They can't get there because their politics are so encumbered. Let's give them a chance. I know they want to do things.
All right, Jen. So there you have Senator Joe Manchin laying out his demands for whether or not the Senate should go for reconciliation. I mean, you might need to go that route to get infrastructure done, to get the minimum wage raised, to get the voting rights, H.R. 1, the For the People Act, passed out of the Senate. Your reaction to Senator Manchin?
Well, what I heard from him is an openness to not taking tools off the table, and that certainly is positive. The president's preference is that we work in a bipartisan way and that we find a path forward with Democrats and Republicans. But what people should have seen through the American Rescue Plan is he's also not going to be held hostage to months and months of negotiations when he wants to get relief to the American people. So we'll see. Infrastructure, as we were talking about, Jonathan, there is a long history of bipartisan support for infrastructure investment. There's actually also a long history of bipartisan support for immigration and reforming the immigration system. Let's see what we can do, and let's see what the path forward can be. But the president's not going to take options off the table. I just heard Senator Manchin isn't going to take options off the table, and we'll really defer to leaders in Congress about the mechanisms and the mechanics of moving these things forward.
So basically, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin is going to probably continue to be a thorn in the side of the Democrats going forward with the multiple stimulus packages coming in the future, stimulus checks, possibly raising the minimum wage, student loan forgiveness, Social Security increases. But at the end of the day, just like we've seen with this package, just like we've seen with the past packages, they'll probably end up getting his vote at the end of the day. They'll probably just have to negotiate with him like they had to this time with removing the minimum wage and lowering the stimulus check income qualifications, as well as lowering the unemployment, but adding in the $10,000 of unemployment income that will not be taxable. So all this stuff is a process, and Joe Manchin is a thorn in the side of the process for at least the Democrats. And it'll be interesting to see if we get any Republican support in the future for the next bill. Or if we see what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, that the Democrats are basically, not wanting to do any support and sitting there with their arms crossed, and not a single one of them is going to vote because there's a new president in town that's now a Democrat. But they were all willing to vote for 5 different stimulus packages when there was a Republican president in there. So he referenced kind of that happening at the beginning of the Obama term, that all the Republicans kind of did the same thing, and not a single one of them voted at the beginning for the Obama term when the Democrats tried to pass new bills. And eventually they came around and started kind of passing bipartisan bills. It's interesting to see history kind of repeat itself now that we have another Democratic president in office right now. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin is not the only Democrat getting lambasted and getting a lot of pressure pushed back at them for their voting in this package. Kristen Sinema, a Democrat from Arizona, is also getting completely thrashed in her own state of Arizona by at least the Democrats, because she said she was going to vote for the $15 an hour minimum wage, but when it came time to vote, she voted against it. Democratic Senator Kirsten Sinema's office is pushing back against criticism of her Friday vote to reject a $15 minimum wage bill, with a spokeswoman for the senator calling commentary on the way in which she cast her vote sexist. Kirsten Sinema was among 8 Democrats who voted against the legislation, which was sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders in an effort to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Kristen Sinema had said multiple times in the past, as this tweet here from previous, a full-time minimum wage earner makes less than $16,000 a year. That's a no-brainer. Tell Congress to #raise the wage. Senior Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib says no one should ever be this happy to vote against uplifting people out of poverty. This Senator Sinema voting no on the $15 an hour minimum wage. This is in response to her actual vote, where she walked on the floor patting Mitch McConnell on the back, the Republican minority leader, looking back to make sure he sees her, then giving the thumbs down to the $15 an hour minimum wage. Here it is.
Miss Sinema, no.
So a lot of people are kind of questioning why Democratic Senator Kirsten Sinema would pat Mitch McConnell on the back, make sure she sees him. Again, Mitch McConnell's the leader of the Republicans in the Senate. Why would she kind of look for his approval, make sure that she sees him voting no, and then vote no against Democratic Party lines pretty much, and have Mitch McConnell give her support? This is similar to what we've seen in the last 24 hours when Democratic Senator Joe Manchin was on the phone with Republicans while they had that standoff the day they voted. Well, actually, kind of the night before. They had a 12-hour standoff because the Democrats needed to get Senator Joe Manchin's vote, and he was on the phone with Republicans. And it's kind of, not that I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat, but let's just assume that you're a Democrat. Why would you be on the phone with the Republican Party and Republican leaders and patting Mitch McConnell on the back? Like, for example, if I'm a Republican senator, I'm not going to be patting Chuck Schumer on the back. Like, I mean, unless we have a bipartisan bill here. But I mean, at this point, all the Republicans voted no. So it's like literally one side versus the other for this bill. So kind of to see a couple Democrats, quote from the media here, in bed with the Republican side is causing a lot of criticism for these Democratic senators. You can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. We'll see if they continue to be a thorn in the side of the Democratic Party. I'll keep you up to date. Also, I have an 11 p.m. video coming out tonight. Don't miss it. I'm going to address all the common questions. We're going to rapid fire through all the questions and answers of the checks, the child stimulus checks, the Social Security increase, the student loan forgiveness. And I'm literally just going to have a question and answer session for you guys tonight, Sunday, at 11 p.m. You might watch it in the morning, but don't miss the 11 p.m. Eastern time video, which is also 8 p.m. West Coast time. So easiest way is subscribe down below, click the bell icon to all notifications. Subscribing is completely free. And this way you'll get notifications, although you don't get a notification for the 11 p.m. video, only the first 3 videos of the day. But you're not going to want to miss the 11 p.m. video tonight because I'm going to have a lot of questions and answers to all your common questions. If you have any questions, just leave them down below in the video here, and I'll try to answer as many as I can in the next video. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have dozens of students that have replaced their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon, which is what me and my wife do. We sell products on Amazon, and we also teach people how to do that. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.